Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining me. This is your host, ID Jester. Welcome back to part 2 of our playthrough here of Tigers on the Hunt. We're the Germans, and we have completed one half of one of our turns here. We've been going kind of slow, kind of going over some stuff with you guys, and just trying to give you some battlefield tactics, some how the game plays out, kind of giving you a good overview on everything here. And hopefully you're enjoying this. So we're going to go ahead now. We're in the administrative segment. We are now the defenders. The Russians have done theirs. So during the administrative segment, we're going to try and rally our units. Whoa, 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 whoa. Go back up, please, because I would like to see what actually happened there. A lot happened. Okay, so we got in command. Everybody's in command, and so they shot. So these guys shot at us, and it looks like their machine gun did not keep the rate of fire, which is good news for us. And then we will hit the button that says AI continue. Now, I think this works best because I always like to see where the fire is coming from, so I have an idea of, not only do I know who has line of sight to who, but I also know who is fired, and possibly where where the unit's most strongest units are. And that was all he did, was shoot with that one unit. So he decided not to move any of his units in the movement phase. If he did, then that's when we would defensive fire. But since he didn't move any of his units, we didn't obviously have any defensive fire against him at this point. But of course, now all of our units can do the defensive fire segment. So even because he doesn't use, because he didn't move his units, doesn't matter. We still get to take a shot at him. Notice the highlight here on our units. Again, they're all tired. So we're going to shoot back. All right. So we had a result of one of his units become pinned here. We can actually, click off of that. Thank you. There we go. Bring it up. You can see the P on that unit right there. Shows that he is pinned. And actually, sometimes the markers can get in the way. So what I want to do here is just take the markers off so we can actually see what kind of unit is there. Okay, there we go. It is looks like a first line squad there that has become pinned. It already fired, so that pinned really isn't going to do a whole heck of a lot to him. Other than it will prevent him from advancing during the advancing phase. Not that he would advance out, but do we have anybody else that has line of sight to anybody? Let's see. Hello. Do you? Of course, there is a range button up here, which happens to be... Oh, where's my little range button here? There it is, firing range. If I click on this, you can see the little white dots. And it shows you the range of your... So you can see we have range. It looks like we don't have line of sight though. Let's see. If we go to click on these guys, yep, does not have line of sight. So I think that edge of that building just might clip. It doesn't look like it does, but man, it must just barely cover that. So the Russians have been so lucky so far. First of all, they were able to squeeze their attack through there. I don't know how they did that. I just don't have any idea. And then we were unable to do that. But okay. I will understand. Okay, so we have our tank here. These guys have fired. So let's go ahead and take another shot with our tank. Clicking on our tank. We would love to take this guy out. If we could break this guy, make him run away, and then we could just... We'd have a problem charging this because we would be attacked by multiple units. So we can't just charge over there. But getting rid of that guy would be a great bonus for us. So again, main armament, infantry. Ooh. So it failed his experience check. So he's going to be replaced. He's an average squad. And now he's going to be replaced with the conscript squad. And he has become broken. Yeah, that is perfect. That is exactly what we want. Notice that big B plus on there. Alright, so those conscripts hopefully will not rally back. If we can leave them broken for a little while, and we can get some units up here, hopefully, I'm going to show you some tricks. Because he's got some defensive units that can just mow us down. Whew. It's going to be hard to get, but we've got a few turns, so we're only on turn 1. All right, so that was our defensive fire there. These guys are broken. These guys can't see anybody. These guys can't see anybody, and these guys are already shot, and these guys can't see anybody. So we are done with defensive fire. So he has advancing fire, which he doesn't have. Now we go into rout. He doesn't have anybody to... he does have somebody he could rout, okay? Because we just broke this guy. So he could rout this unit away. And if he was smart, he would rout him away. I guess it's a tough decision because you're leaving a victory point location. But if I was the Russian player, I would rout away from that hex. Because if you're on this side of the building, nobody can shoot at you. If you're on this side of the building, people can shoot at you. And we're going to continue to shoot at him until he is dead. So hiding in the corner is not dead. So we're going to make sure that this guy meets a very, very bloody end, hopefully. Alright, so route. We have routes. We can actually route these guys away. Yes. Wrong. I clicked on... Oh, we rallied. Look at that. Remember our unit here? That both of them were broken. That's what I was looking for. At the beginning of the administrative segment, it kind of flew through it really quickly. For some reason, it normally stops at the end of that. Unless I click the button at the same time. And our units have rallied back into the fight. That is awesome. So now we're hopefully going to be able to bring this guy up. But I'm going to have to remember not to go into this hex right here. So what we're going to have to do is go into this hex, and then this hex when we move up the next time. But of course, when we go into this hex, he doesn't have line of sight from this guy. But maybe if there's somebody here, maybe, I don't know. It's going to be risky. But as the attacker, you're always at high risk situation. Always high risk. So route, we don't need to route because none of our units are broken. So that is perfect. We are in the advance, so he can advance his units into one space. He chooses not to. Close combat, there's no close combat, so we're kind of flying through that. And ladies and gentlemen, that is turn 1 of 7. Yeah, it took us a little bit longer than normal. If I was playing without commentating and trying to give you guys a good idea of what we're doing here for battlefield tactics wise and kind of overview and kind of showing you how the game plays out here, Tigers on the Hunt. A lovely game. I really am enjoying myself immensely with this game, and I think you will as well. There's a lot of good things to be had, a lot of good scenarios, and like I said, having that scenario editor, great idea. The developer was thinking way ahead. Of course, any game that comes with a nice editor, the replayability and longevity of the game is obviously tenfold. Alright, so we're back to the administrative segment. First it's us. We don't have anything really to do. The Russian player will do. Now, of course, an administrative segment, of course, is going to be one of the most important depending on what difficulty you're playing on. Because if you're playing on, say, hard difficulty, where both you and the Russians are making checks every turn, some of your units are going to be in command, some are not going to be in command. Same thing with the Russians. So that administrative phase is going to be ultra important. And not only that, but of course that's where you're going to rally your units as well. So now we're in the fire segment. So again, those units that are not going to move, you want to go ahead and fire with them. These units that you're planning to move, you do not want to fire. So the only one I think we're in a really good position with is this guy right here. We already broke this guy. Looks like he rallied to conscripts there. So Alright, let's see if we can take these guys out. So again, clicking on our hex, clicking on our tank, and then right clicking on the unit, click that. Oh, casualty reduced. It's now a half squad. But we did not keep a rate of fire, which is, for a Stug 3G, they have low rate of fire. So chances of them getting more than one shot off a turn is pretty low. So, I mean, if we get more than one a turn, we'll consider ourselves lucky. But as long as it keeps doing damage, and keeps breaking the enemy and everything, that is going to be great use. The rest of our units, I think we're going to move. As the attacker, you want to keep them available to move. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move one of our units out and across. And as he moves out, I'm going to find out if there's anybody out there that can shoot at him. So instead of moving both units at the same time, this is a great tactic, especially if you have like a half squad. What you can do with the half squad, if we had any half squads, at this point we have all just full squads. But if I had a half squad and a full squad, what you can do is normally take those half squads and move them out and try to gauge where the enemy is, for get line of sight on them, and plus also as you bring them out, find out if any of his units are going to waste their fire on him. If they don't, then you can move them right up next to him and cause all kinds of problems. So it kind of forces them almost to shoot at you. And of course you would want to do that because that way your full squads can be moved up and they would not be able to be attacked by that enemy. So you don't have, as defensive fire, you just can't, you don't have unlimited fire. You have one that you can do at full firepower, then you have one that you can do at half firepower, and then you have one like emergency one that you have if somebody moves adjacent to you. But if you take that attack, then you do a morale check on yourself as well. So you can end up hurting yourself more than you do the enemy. So we'll see that hopefully here later in the scenario as our units get closer and closer to one another. But again, there's no sense in me moving both of my units out at the same time. Because if I move them out here and they get shot, they could both break. So better to just send out one unit. And especially, like I said, if you had a half squad, it's best to do it with a half squad. But we don't have a half squad, so we're gonna risk. We're in the fire segment, so we can't do any of this. So first things first. Apologize for that. We have to go to the movement segment. All right, so now we can do it. There we go. All right. So you see, we clicked on just one of our units again. So if you don't hold the control key down, you could just highlight. In this case, they're both exactly the same unit. So okay, so far so good. Nobody wants to take a shot at him. Here I am. Hello, anybody? No? Okay, move you there. Alright, and I think he will be done. Alright, so we will now click on this guy and do the same thing. Notice we are now in the move, not the double time. Yes, I know. In fact, if you click on double time again, it'll say unit that runs double times in a previous turn cannot run this turn. So it'll automatically move it back to the move for you. This is one of the trickiest parts is making sure, especially when you're moving lots of units and you're using different kinds, you always have to remember to check over here and make sure you're choosing the right movement. Because if I go to assault move this guy, the next guy over here, it'll stay on assault move. So you always have to make sure to double check this little menu over here. So we're going to do the same thing, move this guy here and then move him up there. So in this case it was safe. Nobody took a shot at either one of them, so that's okay. Now, this guy here, we're going to actually move him together. So we're going to move him 1, 2. If I move him here, is that guy going to get a shot at me again? I think he is. I'm assuming that guy is still in that same spot, because that's where he shot me here last time. I wonder if this is behind the building. All right, let's get. Okay, good. All right, move up. There we go. All right. So we had to go around that area. We saw that he had that nice line right on that spot there, but we had to go around that area, or he might have moved out of there. In fact, he might be, because we don't actually see line of sight on that guy anymore. He might have moved. So that was good. That was fortunate for us. All right, so now back to our Stug. All right, so he's already in movement, because last turn we didn't stop him. So he's already in movement. So you notice we don't have to start him again. We could stop him, but in this case we don't want to. We want to rotate to the left. And we're going to go this way. I tell you what, it's that one space right there between this one and this one. But we're gonna line this guy up. So now look at what we got. We got that covering arc covering these guys right there. That's great. All right, so now we're going to stop them. Sound effects in this game are great. And speaking of sound, I do have the sound off, but normally if you're playing by yourself and you're not recording, you can turn on the battlefield sounds. And I'll just let you guys listen to that for just a second. I thought it would be a little bit too loud, and you guys might not be able to hear me talking. But oh man, that just gets into just great sound effects. Awesome, love that. I'm just going to turn it off so you guys can hear me, but definitely turn that on when you're playing at home. All right, so that guy moved. These guys have moved. Our northern flank is doing pretty good. Our southern flank here has seen better days. Is this guy still broken? What happened to this guy? Oops, what are we doing here? We're still in the movement segment. Yes, I want to... yes, he's got broken conscripts. Anybody that's broken can't fire, so we don't have to worry about this guy firing. But what we do have to worry about is this guy shooting us as we cross across here. This guy shooting us from here and here, and this guy shooting us. So coming across this X here, this X here, and this X here, and this X. Those 4 hexes are death zone. Death, death, death. So our only option is to either put some guys up here in the buildings and just try to knock these guys out, or we're going to have to circle way down and around, try to get outside their range here. I don't know what their first line range is going to be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'd have to go 1, 2, 3. I'm assuming about 6 hexes, but I could be wrong. What are we gonna do? This guy's still got a shot at that guy, but I'm not too worried about him. He's already broken. He's already a half squad. We could use the same trick we did before, where we take one of our squads and kind of say, okay, if you're gonna shoot, go ahead and shoot. You know what we're going to do? We're going to assault move with one of them, which will put him here. And remember, we get to advance at the end of the turn, assuming he's still alive. And we can then move him into this building here. He'd be a little bit closer. I don't like these guys here. That's all right. So what I'm going to do? This guy's already broken. I need to break this hex. That's a lot of guys. So what we're going to do here is start this vehicle. Oh, yes. Yes, always have to select. Oh, it's fired. That's right. Yeah. In fact, if I had the markers on, it would show big fire. That's correct. He already fired. Okay, that strategy's out. I'm going to move. Oh my gosh, look at that. And even got inside the building, and then they shot at him and broke. So these guys... Oops. Let's go to the markers here. Oh, got to go down. Markers. So it looks like these guys are now first fired. You notice the first fire means they shot once. The next time they go to fire, it'll be only at half firepower. Alright, so I'm actually going to take a chance here again. We're going to move these guys up. Now notice this little explosion here. So because this guy defensive fired, his units are basically concentrating their firepower on that hex. And what that means is if I move any more units into that hex, they'll automatically take what they call residual firepower attack. And but I think it's worth it because I want this leader in to rally this. And then he shot again, so you notice he's at final fire. So this guy can't do any more firing unless he has a unit that moves adjacent to him. So notice the first time he fired, it was first fire. The second time he fired, it's final fire. So final fire is kind of a misnomer because you actually can fire one more time as kind of like an emergency fire, and that's if an enemy moves adjacent to you. And you have one last ditch effort to kind of protect yourself. But of course there's danger in that you have to roll a morale check as well. So you can end up breaking your cells. Your guys cower under the fact that enemies are getting close to your location. Alright, so we got those guys over there. I did want to get these guys there. Unfortunately one guy got broken. Alright, so these guys here, we're going to use these guys here, and what we're going to do with them is we're going to assault move. The advantage with assault moves is, the disadvantage is you can only move one hex. The advantage is if they defensive fire on you, they don't get any bonuses. So we're going to move, and we only want to move one hex anyways. So we're going to move into that hex there. Alright, now we have these other two guys right there. And I want to switch to move. And I'm going to move them right to that hex right there. And then in the advanced phase, we're going to move them into that hex there. We're going to... Yeah, I need to be able to swing around my flank here, and these guys are holding that procedure up. That's not cool. Not cool at all. Alright. So I think everybody is moved, correct? Yes. You notice they say move on that. And here they say move. And of course I could notice that these hex these guys are grayed out. These guys are not grayed out. The reason the difference is these guys still have a movement point left, but they don't have enough movement points to move here, but they have enough movement points to move into a clear hex. So that's why they're not grayed out, because they actually have one more movement point that they can use to move into a clear hex. So yeah, I don't want to move into that hex. Thank you. You still have movement points left, but you're in a good spot. Okay, I think we are done with our movement phase. Defensive fire. This is where they get to try and attack us, and they chose not to attack. Interesting. He might not have any line of sight on anybody. Yeah, see, this guy does not have line of sight. This guy can only have line of sight on my tank, but he can't shoot my tank. This guy's already shot. This guy's broken. And this guy, why would this guy not fire? Let's see, what's his claim to fame here? He should have shot at these guys. I'm not sure why he didn't. Unless he's got 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe he's only got a range of 4. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they have for range. So, anyways, advancing fire. So now we get to use all of our units. Now notice we have in this hex, we have our leader, we have our first line, and we have a broken unit. So we can't obviously shoot with our broken unit, but we can use our leader and our good squad to attack these guys down here. And of course, because we already moved, we're going to be at half firepower. So it's not going to, chances are slim we're going to do it. Usually worth a chance to see if you can get that good roll on them. And unfortunately, we didn't do anything. So these guys have fired. These guys don't have line of sight to anybody, do they? Let's see. Do they have? Yeah, they have line of sight to this guy. We might as well. Him. Nothing happened. Okay. These guys here. Let's select the leader as well. Again, I'm just holding the control key down. Let's take nope, no results. No results. This guy moved, so now his time to fire. Again, because he moved, it's going to be, unfortunately, not the best of attacks. But we have a single unit, and we have a leader and a couple units over there. Let's take a shot at that guy. Doesn't keep his rate of fire and didn't end up doing any damage. And these guys don't have line of sight to anybody, if I recall. That's correct. These guys, they don't have line of sight to anybody. Nope. Alright, so that is everybody that can fire is fired. We're done with that. And we're in the route segment. So, attacker would route first. We don't have anybody that is broken. Yes, we do. We have a guy here that is broken. So, what we would like to do is actually move this guy and our leader and move them here and then move them here, because this way this guy doesn't have line of sight to us. He would have to move up here, and if he moves up to this hex, we could take a shot at him and maybe damage him. But in case they don't rally, I want them away from the enemies. You definitely want to keep your guys away from the enemies if they've been broken. Okay, so those were the only broken units we have. And we will be done with the route segment. And so now we get to advance. Are these guys going to advance? Doesn't look like it. Pretty much stationary at this point, which is, pretty smart. If you're being the defender, you don't need to advance. You just need to stay in your spot, because right now they are winners of the game. If we go to the status and look at the scenario, still they have 4 victory points. We have 0. So right now it's a German major defeat. So as long as nothing changes, the Russians will win. So the advanced segment. Do you wish to do anything? Oh, it's our advanced segment. What am I thinking? Oh, duh. Okay, so we're going to click on these. We're going to advance up. We're going to click on these guys. We're going to move up. These guys here. Going to move these guys up. These guys are broken. These guys we can move out in the open, which would be very, very dumb. So we're not going to do that. And that is that. Alright, so that's the advanced segment. No close combat because we didn't move into an enemy hex. We can bypass that. And we go on to the Russian half of the turn where they are the attacker. You can see down here we had our unit failed to rally in the hex. So down here our unit is still broken, unfortunately. Alright, so it looks like he took a shot. Oh, wow, he broke us. which is not cool. Wow, what the heck was that? That was like a super shot right there. Because both of our units broke. And one guy become pinned. Interesting, I don't quite see that on the... oh, there it is. Okay, so it was actually back. So the Russian leader and the squad and this medium machine gun. Ugh, we need to take that out. And our lieutenant broke, and our first line broke, and our other first line broke. And it kept its rate of fire. And then it shot again. That's why it went to the next one there. And nothing happened. But his medium machine gun is broken now. So that is good. Let's keep that thing broken. So that's why he has 2 attacks there, because he kept his rate of fire. Alright, so that's why I had to go back to the previous one. Unfortunately, that is rather unfortunate for another guy. Nothing happened. That's good. Oh my gosh, these guys, these Russians are just... wow, they are on a roll. They are taking us out left and right here. Well, that's good, because I get to show you how to, you know, different strategies to use here. We have to move up as the advancer, so you're going to be taking these shots. But we just have to whittle them down a little bit with our tanks. Now that our tanks are in position, I feel a little bit better. Alright, so our defensive fire phase, unfortunately for us, all these guys are... we have one guy that's pinned. He can shoot, not with a lot of firepower. These guys here can shoot. Rather unfortunate. I don't think these guys have line of sight to anybody. Nope. Okay, that's fine. These guys don't have line of sight, do they? Nope. Alright, so but our tanks do. So let's get these tanks are going to be the savior of us. And in fact, if you read the scenario description when we first loaded this scenario up, it talked about the German leader grabbing 2 Stugs and brought them along to help his units, and doesn't keep his rate of fire and did not do any damage. Can you... I think it's going to be outside his arc. Right now we're pointing this way, so it's probably going to tell us, yep, it's outside of his facing. Alright, that's just exactly what I thought it should say. So I guess we're just going to have to handle that guy. And his conscript has been eliminated. We did not keep a rate of fire, unfortunately, but we eliminated the unit from this hex. So now is the time to run over there. Unfortunately, we got a bunch of broken units right now that are not helping. All right. So that was the defensive fire segment. I believe that's everybody. Yes. Now they get to advance and fire. Most of their units have already fired, though, so we don't have to worry about that. Routing is going to be important here, though. Alright, so we have a lieutenant and her squad. I'm going to route them back there. We have this guy here. Now... remember, leaders give you a route bonus, so what we want to do is route this guy back to this leader right here. So we are going to route back here and then back to here. And hopefully this leader here, this sergeant, will get our 2 squads lined up here and get them rallied for us here in the next administrative phase. And I believe that is the end We have a pinned unit, but that's nothing. Okay, so right now we're kind of at a disadvantage. We have several squads out of the turn unless they rally. So we need some rallies so they can advance. Do they wish to advance? Nope, no close combat either. So we're on to turn 3 already. So the lieutenant failed to rally himself. One of our units in Hex 1127 did rally. A unit in Hex rallied in Hex 1127, and then self-rally squad rallied in Hex 1314. So that is rather fortunate. All these guys came back, and looks like we have our leader up here that's still... Looks like he's still broken. That's too bad. Alright, so administrative segment again. We're going to try to rally, and of course we're going to try and get command and control. Fortunately, we don't have to worry about command and control for you guys right now. We'll try another scenario with some command and control issues. Alright, so first things first, fire segments. So, we want to fire with this tank. And we want to fire at these guys right there. And nothing. But he did keep his rate of fire, which is a huge bonus for us, because we don't normally do that. So this guy's rallied here too. But I think taking these guys out. Come on. Oh, good. We broke it, and he kept his rate of fire again. This is, oh my gosh, this is like triple good bonus for us. That's huge. So let's take a look here. So he has a broken guy. Cannot fire the machine gun. If we could break this guy, then we could just run our units across there. We do have to worry about some defensive fire from this guy. Let's yeah, let's take a shot at this guy. So we need to click on our... Oh, it did acquire the hex 913, which is this hex. So he does get a... He gets, because the hex is what they consider acquired, he gets a bonus to attack that hex again, because it's like, you know, kind of scoped into that location. Alright, take another shot at them then. Ooh, nice. So, casualty reduced to a half squad, and this time he did not keep his rate of fire. So that has actually been good. So not only did we break him, but we've gotten rid of him. He's now a half squad as opposed to a full squad. That is awesome. Unfortunately, we couldn't do anything with this guy. I mean, we could have taken a chance and switched our location, but because we got this hex acquired, we get a bonus to attack it. It is, let's see, who else needs to fire? I don't think anybody. So we're done with the fire segment. So we really have to decide, again, who's going to fire and who do we want to move. I would love to fire from this guy here and hit this guy and break him. Because having broken units is a great time to run up. Problem is, we got this guy that can defensive fire, we got this guy that can defensive fire, we got these guys, so we just can't risk running up at this point. We need more broken units. The southern flank is actually doing much better than it did just a couple turns ago, and that's what's great about this tactical system is you just one turn to the next turn you think, oh my gosh, I'm losing so bad, and then you break a couple of his units, a couple of your units rally like we did over here, and all of a sudden we have the advantage on him, and it's the ebb and flow is just incredibly fun. So I'm going to be done with the fire segment. So we have to really think about what we're going to do here for movement segment. Alright, so we're going to start this bed. Oh, yep, we always have to select the vehicle first. Then we're going to start her up. Rotate to the left one more time. There we go. So he's going to be able to shoot at this guy, and then of course so now these guys are all back. These guys are all back. We have 5 squads against 2 squads. We do have a slight advantage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to again assault move from here to here. Then we should be able to see one another and fire on one another. He'll probably defensive fire on me. I mean, taking these guys out would just, if these guys weren't here, we could then just sneak right up and get this victory point location, because these guys from the north won't be able to shoot because this building will block line of sight. So taking these guys out are like priority number 1, assuming he doesn't have other squads hidden down here or back here. You know, he might have a squad here that we don't even know about. If he had squads here, we would know about it. Yes, or maybe in this hex we wouldn't see him because of that. So, but I'm thinking his main, you know, he would have units. Yeah, he probably wouldn't have any more hidden. He would have these units. So if we can take these units out, and the best way to take these guys out is overwhelm them with our firepower right now, because we have an advantage in firepower. But we have to be smart about it. We can't just run out there, it'll shoot us and break us, and then our advantage is gone. So we don't want that. So I mean, we could do the old trick where we send in one squad and make him use his defensive fire, and then another squad and make him use another defensive fire, and then we can bring our big force in, and then he has to decide what he wants to do. And that might be worth a try. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assault move and see if we can get this guy to defensive fire on us. Nope, he didn't. Okay, which is probably smart. There's no sense. I mean, he knows. The computer probably knows. I've got more units that I can bring over. And if he wastes his defensive fire, and this is where if you play it against a human, it's like, oh, you know, you're forcing me to attack you, but do I really, really want to attack you? Because I know you've got more units just waiting to come running over. Unfortunately, he didn't take our bait, but alright, I'm going to assault move. Let me think. How do I want to do this? If I assault move here, then at the end of the phase, I get to move with the advancing phase. I can move into this hex. So then we'll be adjacent, and he will have no attacks on me until the start of his turn. If I move here and then move here, he'll defensive fire, but then I will also have my advancing fire. So it's all going to be up to how well his defensive fire works. Now, is it worth risking that? I think it is, actually. So we're going to go to move, and we're going to highlight all of our units, and we're going to take a chance here, because I'm willing to take this chance because it's going to, it can make or break this scenario. Because if we can, like I said, if we can take this guy out, we have clear path up to this victory point. And again, this victory point location is worth 2 points. So even if we don't get these, we can still end up with a draw. All we have to do is just take that one hex. I mean, it's just open. We got rid of the guy in that hex. It's open for us to go get it. So taking a risk to get rid of these guys, it's protecting everybody from running over there. I think it's worth it. So we're going to move there, and then right there. God bless it. And he kept rate of fire too? Oh my gosh, that's just horrible. Alright, so his first attack, he broke me, and we failed our experience check, and will be replaced with the second line. So we are not a first line anymore, we're a second line, and it become broken as well. That's not what I want to see. Then his next attack, fortunately, didn't do anything. I should have moved up one. That was a risk we were going to take. I wanted to keep everybody together because if he didn't break me, then we could advancing fire on him. Okay, so all right, so that's that. These guys can move. All right, so we're going to do our little trick here. We're going to use our squad, and we're going to. These guys are going to hammer him. These guys are going to try and hammer him. Oh, shoot. I'd like to flank around this. Yeah, these guys haven't defensive fired at all yet, have they? Nope. Nope. Okay. So, I mean, when we put a guy out here, we got clear line of sight. Fortunately, we've got some hindrance in the way. These orchards are going to make their attack a little bit tougher. We could just assault move into this hex, but the problem with moving into that hex is it doesn't get us anywhere. We need to get behind this building and then get in this location. Now, he still might have a line of sight here, but he's going to be shooting through a lot of orchards. Plus, we'll get a I'm not sure if we get a defensive bonus with the tank in our hex or not. So many tough decisions. All right, so we're gonna move with just this. We're gonna find out who wants a piece of them. Oh, have they already moved? What's going on here? No, he should be able to move. Why? So move. Squad. Maybe did they already fire? Is that what happened? Where's our little markers here? Nope, I don't think they already moved. Not sure why I can't not move these units. They haven't moved. I don't think they fired. Alright, these guys. Well, we'll come back to them. This guy's still broken. So we're going to move the sergeant and the squad, and we're going to assault move, because we only want to move in one space. So let's move. Oh, and they're just hammering us. So the way how many attacks you can take defensively depends in the terrain you're going into. So if you go into light terrain, they can only take one defensive fire shot at you. If you move into medium terrain, they can take 2 defensive fires. And if you move into heavy terrain, they can take 3 defensive attacks. So, you know, this unit, and this unit could all, you know, from different attacks, they could all end up attacking me. Fortunately, it looks like everybody survived their attack. That's good. Now, we're going to assault move with both of these squads and move them there. Defensive fire, which is good. Any coward in effect. So, for those of you who remember the old ASL rules, cowering basically lowers your attack value. So, leaders prevent cowering, of course, so he doesn't have a leader in that hex. So, and even if he hit us, his damage would be reduced because his units were not at full capacity there when they were attacking us. So he's defensive fired. There we go. They final fired. That's good. These guys have not final fired. That's bad. Alright, so we might actually be okay, because what I'm going to do is my little trick I've been talking about for a long time here now. You notice we've now using up all their defensive fires. So the only one he's got left is here. So if I move this guy here... Oh, I got to click on my squad. Here we go. Move him there. but you notice he's now at first fire. And now I take him and I continue moving to this base. That's his final fire. Now he's pinned him, which is okay. He's pinned him. But the advantage is now everybody is final fired. They're final fired, they final fired, they final fired, they final fired. So now I know that nobody can actually attack these guys unless they move up adjacent to an enemy. So we could actually try to get this guy into our victory point hex. So a lot of our units have been sacrificing for this one individual move. This whole round, turn 3, we've been setting up the enemies, just as we've been talking about through turn 1 and through turn 2, where if we can get them to defensive fire all their units at the wrong unit, and we still have the available unit that can run over there. And so that's what we're going to try here. He should not be able to do anything about this, and voila, look at that. All of his units are basically concentrating their attacks on, and that's what these first fire and final fire is. Basically they represent, these guys are concentrating on the hex that they shot at, and they're not worried about other hexes. They're not worried about these units moving up. These guys here were worried about this hex and this hex. And so they're concentrating their attacks there, and they don't have the time, they don't have the range, you know, or whatever represented, and they just don't have, you know, they can't quickly, you know, recalibrate all their you know, reloads and all that, so that we can get our units up there. And now notice, if we go to our victory, we will now see Germans 2, Russians 2. So right now, in turn number 3, the first part of turn number 3, we have now got ourselves a draw, assuming we can hold on to this hex. Alright, so that was, you know, I've been talking a lot about this and how this is going to play out. And just, you know, been giving you different tips and tricks about this. And I know I kept mentioning it over and over again. But now you've seen the fruits of our labor here. So that's pretty much all of our moves, correct? Everybody's moved. This guy's pinned, so he's done. These guys done. Alright, so we can go on to the next phase. So now they get to defensive fire, which they're not going to be able to do, because every one of their units have defensive fired. They're spent. All their guys are busy reloading now, gathering their strength, you know, and everything. So now we get the advanced from firing phase. So this is where our units that have moved up, that have been risking life and limb, can now shoot back at the enemy. Does what? No line of sight? You're kidding me? Right down that line? Oh, okay. All right. So we have this unit here. Of course, we're at only half firepower, but these units have been diving in between bushes and under buildings and under rocks, just trying to stay alive long enough that these units can run up and get that location. Unfortunately, no damage there. They have no line of sight. These guys, do they have line of sight? These guys are like the heroes right now. We actually have a light machine gun, a Soviet, but I don't think we can actually pick that up. Can you? Good, good. No damage though. Alright, you guys. So now we finally, this is the other thing, is we finally got into a position where we've been having to move up and having to move up, and now we're in the position where we're finally up close enough to them that when we move up and we survive, we can actually start putting some damage, hopefully, eventually, with a couple good attacks would be nice. Nope, a lot of misses right now, but that's because we're at a lot of half firepowers, okay? But now that we're in position, we're going to have a couple turns where now that we're in position, assuming we don't break when they start attacking us, we should be able to get our full firepower and start start damaging them back. So the advanced firing phase, these guys have fired, these guys have fired. You, Mr. Tank, you could be of great use here. Again, low chance, but... Oh, does not keep his rate of fire. Nothing happened, unfortunately, and you have already fired as well. So that's the advanced firing phase. Route segment, attacker, in this case us, will route first. Let's see, where did we... I think we have one unit down here to the south, don't we? Yes, we have several of them. Okay. So we have a leader and a squad, which is actually kind of good. Anytime you can move a leader with a squad that's broken together. And again, I'm only going to move them there because this unit can't shoot through this building just to us, and we got nobody that's going to attack them this way. So he should be fine in that location. We could move him down a little bit farther just to make sure, but I'm pretty sure he'll be okay. The only thing that would mess him up is if he could try to advance into our space and close combat us, which, you know what, that is a possibility. So I'm actually going to move these guys one more space down, because if this guy advances into our space, we're adjacent to him again. That would be bad, because then we would be adjacent to him again as a broken unit, and we would be in real big trouble at that point. Okay, so I think these are the only units that were broken for us, correct? Yes, yes, good job, yes, very good for the Germans right now. Turn 3 was probably so far the biggest turn we've had. Now, of course, we did their routes. I don't think they actually moved anybody. Now we're in the advanced segment. So this is... He's got 2 units. We could advance into that space and have close combat, but we're not going to do that because he would have a great advantage. He's got a leader plus 2 squads. We only have 1 squad. So what we're going to do is actually advance these guys down here. So now we got a 3 versus 2 situation here. So he'll probably attack us and try to do some damage there. Alright, now what we need to do is take these units and push to the north. Hopefully these guys can keep these guys occupied. We can maybe bring our tank back up and take these guys out, push these guys to the north and try to take that location there. If we can do some damage to these guys, I'm feeling good about that. I don't know, this point here, man, whew, this has been rough. Advanced. These guys are... So we have a leader, a squad, and we have a squad there. Everybody's in pretty good position. Although, let's see. Alright, here's what I want to do. I'm actually going to take one of the leaders and one of the squads, and we're going to advance into here, because you can have 3 squads and a leader. You can actually have 3 squads and up to 4 leaders in one hex if you wanted to have multiple leaders. But I want to make a bigger stack with my leader, so that way that leader can direct more firepower at the enemy. So we're going to do that. And leave this guy kind of back by himself until this leader rallies. These units can actually advance, but I think he just wants to hold this location at least this turn. This guy's pinned, so he cannot advance. Yes, okay. So if you're pinned, you cannot advance. So if I advance these guys here, we don't actually have anybody covering that location. So that's the advanced segment. There is no close combat. We can bypass that. And ladies and gentlemen, whew, the end of our turn 3. Now it's the enemy's turn 3, where they're the attacker, we're the defender. But I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in this video. Hopefully you guys are enjoying great World War II tactical game. Check it out. Tigers on the Hunt. You can look at it on Matrix Game website. find out all the information. Soon to be released. Again, this is just beta version of it, so minor bug fixes and everything aside, it's been a lot of fun so far. We come back for the next episode where we will see if the Russians are able to do anything to the onslaught of the German forces as they approach. So we'll see you next episode. Thanks for watching.